edition of Hannity, President Trump versus the resistance. I'm Kimberly Guilfoyle, in for Sean tonight. President Trump continues to respond to attacks from the liberal mainstream media. During an event this weekend, the president blasted the biased press. Take a look.
The fake media is trying to silence us, but we will not let them.
Nope.
Because the people know the truth. The fake media tried to stop us from going to the White House, but I'm president and they're not.
And after that, the president sent CNN into a frenzy by tweeting out this video.
That's awesome.
The network. Well, predictably, CNN issued a strongly worded statement slamming the president. Quote, "It is a sad day when the president of the United States encourages violence against reporters. Clearly, Sarah Huckabee Sanders lied when she said the president had never done so. Instead of preparing for his overseas trip, his first meeting with Vladimir Putin, dealing with North Korea, and working on his health care bill, he is instead involved in juvenile behavior far below the dignity of his office. We will keep doing our jobs. He should start doing his." And of course, CNN hosts, commentators, and guests, well, they had a collective freak out. Take a look.
Yeah, like they're going to a funeral.
Stand up to this. This kind of rhetoric, this kind of behavior is going to lead to a journalist being hurt.
There's an incitement to violence. He is going to get somebody killed.
Are they shitting me?
Will stop him.
It's not just anti
Oh my God.
CNN, it's anti-freedom of the press, it's anti-freedom.
But you guys can kill the president in a mock play. Griffin can hold up a fake head that resembles ISIS, a beheading, and that's okay. And then a Republican gets shot, and some other Republicans get shot and get hurt. And you guys are sick. You guys don't even see what you're doing.
Attack the media.
Is this president trying to impersonate Hugo Chavez?
Go grow some hair, okay? I'm tired of looking at you.
Vladimir Putin?
Keep seeing my
This
reflection.
is exactly the kind of language that leaders use when they are trying to undermine the press.
Here with Common Sense.
You guys aren't
is
even the
Fox
press.
News contributor, former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee.
Woohoo!
Great to have you in the program. Very much looking forward to talking to you about this. When this happened this weekend, wow. CNN, the rest of the liberal media started, in my opinion, overreacting to this tweet. What do you think?
Kimberly, the amazing thing is this is a news media that told us that the Shakespeare in the Park where Donald Trump was murdered on stage, that's just theater. But somehow pro wrestling is so real that they're afraid of it.
Exactly.
This is amazing. Most of the wounds that the press think they're experiencing, they're self-inflicted. And I don't know if anyone is calling for anybody in the press to be hurt. Quite frankly, I don't know if anyone who wants to hurt the press. They just
Yeah,
want to laugh
but
at
that's
it
okay right
because
there.
they hold them in
Let's kill the
contempt.
president.
And what's happened in the press is a sense of which they no longer practice journalism. They practice a very targeted, hateful attempt to destroy the legitimacy of Donald Trump's presidency. And people in America, at least beyond the coast, they're not stupid. They figure this out. And they just are laughing at the press and saying, you know, it's not journalism that we're afraid of. It's not journalism that we don't like. We would appreciate some journalism.
Sure.
That's not what we're getting in America right now.
Some fact-checking, some appropriate sourcing, not these hit pieces that they try to do. And you bring up a great point, Governor, which is, you know, the polling really backs up what you're here to say tonight, which is, in fact, the public, the American people, they do not trust journalists and the American media, the mainstream media, in terms of their reporting or their accuracy. And it seems like CNN and some of the others in the liberal media really jumped at this opportunity, which most normal people thought it was pretty funny. I mean, it wasn't something that was trying to be, taken seriously. But the part that disturbed me most, and I'm going to ask you about this, you know, as a father as well, what do you make of CNN calling your daughter, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, you know, a liar, since they went out of their way to try to make a personal attack against her?
As a dad, I'm not that fond of it.
Right.
But as the father of somebody who I know to be a tough professional, she's more than capable of handling it. And when the Playboy reporter attacked her at the White House the other day, I thought, what an incredible irony. Here you've got someone who works for a publication that has made its entire brand on exploiting women, on airbrushing them so that they look differently than they really are, and he is attacking the White House and saying that they're not being honest enough. I mean, how much more irony could there be? But I think my daughter is handling that quite well. She's strong enough to deal with it. She's a strong woman. And unlike some women in the media who melt anytime someone comes after them, my daughter's handling it
That's right.
quite remarkable.
Sarah's awesome.
Yes, she was articulate. She had great answers. She came right back. She was able to hold her own. I mean, really, I think being a great representative, you know, for women and for women in journalism to say this is the standard of how you conduct yourself, that she was unflappable. There wasn't anything that they said or came after with that she couldn't handle, and she just answered the questions professionally, directly, politely, and you know that's what we need to do, have that level of discourse. She's showing that even though they're not being respectful on the other side, she is rising up to the occasion. I thought really handling herself unbelievably well. So let's talk about the members of the media. Do you think they're being a little bit hypocritical for being outraged over this? You bring up the point about Shakespeare in the play and Shakespeare in the Park, the play, and also Kathy Griffin, things like that. They don't seem to be, you know, up in arms over that, looking to defend that, to say, well, this is outrageous, we shouldn't have this kind of behavior, that it's disrespectful or dangerous to the president, yet they're upset about this parody tweet that he did.
Well, Kimberly, you and I have both been in the public eye enough to know that when we read a story that's written about us, we know whether it's true journalism for a simple reason. If we read it and we don't know whether the reporter likes us or not, that's real journalism. If when reading the story about yourself you say, gosh, that guy hates me, or that person who wrote that really likes me, that's not journalism. Because you should not have any idea whether or not that person likes you or not. Can I mention one thing? I think my daughter is handling some of this real well because she's got 3 preschoolers at home, and so she's used to dealing with petulant children who ask the same question over and over.
Oh, I love
get
it.
a different answer, the one that they want. And so maybe that's part of the reason that she's able to stay flat-footed, look those folks in the eye and handle it.
They are. They're like a bunch of babies.
Who's been in politics. I think she's got that kind of experience and background
At the press briefing.
The things that the press will sling at you, the smear pieces, the hit pieces, trying to go after you, the personal attacks. And I think that's one of the reasons why, you know, she's used to dealing with them and she understands, you know, how they behave. But let's talk a little bit more about CNN. You know, again, they're outraged this weekend over the president's, you know, wrestling tweet. But they themselves deserve to be criticized after getting stories wrong and really unrelenting, constant negative coverage.
Winners are popping up in every corner of the state.
I don't know why that does that. Sorry, guys.
Play Wizard of All in
Coverage of the Trump administration and trying to push a false narrative with the Russian collusion story where there is not one fact to support it.
They pushed that story. Jake Tapper had to admit that he held up a copy of the National Enquirer on air that didn't exist. It was fake news. They had to fire or ask for the resignations of 3 of their people because of improper and unethical behavior. I mean, this is a network that really is in a meltdown. It has nothing to do with Donald Trump. It has to do with their inability to be objective. The one thing we expect out of our press is that you just report the news. Let us make up our minds how we feel about it. You don't have to lead us. We don't need that help. We're not that incapable of coming to our own conclusions. And because the press is trying to spoon feed us, remember Mika Brzezinski, that she's going to tell us what we ought to feel and how we ought to believe about something? Well, no, that's not the press's job. The freedom of the press only works when there is a responsibility of the press to be objective. And when they start acting that way, they might get a little respect, but right now they're about as popular as the Zika virus from a mosquito.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, and it's sad because really it seems CNN is to blame. The blame lies with them wholeheartedly, singularly, for this credibility crisis, you know, that they are in for the reasons that you just spoke of. Governor Huckabee, always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kimberly. Happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th. God bless. Coming up next on the